The Citizen. This mod has been in the works for some time and the reception of the mod was sometimes cold, sometimes warm. The story takes place in City 17 and in the same time as the original Half-Life 2, and you play as a citizen who is about to become a rebel and join his fellows in the war against the Combine. The gameplay of the Citizen differs from the gameplay of the original Half-Life 2 a little bit, and it also adds a few roleplay elements to the mix. Now then. Following the rules written in a big book of argumentation, I'll start with those parts which I didn't like and add the parts that I like to the end, because arguments on the end of a review are more memorable and will cause that you lot will think that I like the mod, which is actually my goal because I do like it. But there were some minor problems here and there. The most irritating of these was the darkness of the first levels. Since you don't have a suit at the time, you can't use your flashlight on the map and there are some places where a few extra lights would have been welcomed. This was annoying on the sewer level in particular, where you need to open doors with help of combination locks. It took me like 5 minutes to guess the right code, luckily the combinations weren't too hard to guess. I read after this incident in the forums that the combination is next to the door. I kept searching and finally with the brightness on max, I could read the numbers next to the doors. But if I hadn't read this in the forums, I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't have guessed that these numbers are supposed to be codes. I mean, numbers next to a door usually refer to the room number, not anything else. After that I found a wheel which gave access to a key. Basically I just tripped over the key, not even knowing at first what I've done with the wheel. I just walked back and forth because I didn't know where to go. Finally I had enough and switched back to my desktop to pull the gamma up to like 1.8. Then thanks to my new video card and its useless drivers, this deed of mine was welcomed with a big juicy blue screen of death. After I rebooted my system I was finally able to see what I've done, eventually got a crowbar and could advance to the next level. I don't ask for a big ass spotlight, but this level was just too dark. With the gamma levels being at 1.8, the map looked of course washed out and terrible and was the worst part of the Citizen. There were also a few weird texture choices, alignment issues here and there, and some bugs. For example, as I was supposed to kill the traitor who tricked my buddies, my comrades have chosen a rather unique way to support me. They started pumping lead in my ass. Eventually I loaded an autosave from a previous map which healed them from their insanity. The Strider battle was also a bit out of the place. Fighting one of these huge cockroaches in a fairly tight space with a sniper and a whole army joining the party at some point is not really what I call fair play. This concludes the negative criticism, thank you for your patience. Now let's move on to the awesomeness. First of all, I really like the roleplay elements of the mod. I'm a big fan of Deus Ex, I enjoyed dicking around in the voxel world of Outcast, and it was nice to see Half-Life 2 with a little RPG flair. There were lots of things to explore, hidden storage rooms and numerous Easter eggs. I guess the funniest for me was this. Doesn't make any sense, but I was giggling for a few minutes. I really liked the dialogues, the voice acting was great. There were only 1 or 2 sentences that I found hard to understand. Overall it sounded pretty professional, with some of the voice actors putting even Valve to shame. I also liked the jokes. Father Gregory's speech, his picture later on in a locker, the wall blast at the theater were all funny. And that rebel captain...
That lying sack of shit. I'm gonna rip his balls off.
Wow, he's a badass. Not to mention the posters at the theater, those were the best. To beer or not to beer. Awesome. I also liked the fact that most of the times you could choose how to complete your current task. For example, on the first level you could either choose to sneak by the CP and get out of the building without any combat, or jump on the bastard's head. By the way, with no offense meant to the fans of the Thief series, sneaking and hiding in the shadows wasn't the best way to escape from the building, because if you don't clear that guard, you don't get to see this. Still fucking hilarious. There were however 2 maps which required the player to sneak, as the title already shows. I thought that they were a nice touch and refreshing between the shooting gallery parts. The chance to become a Combine soldier for a brief time was also fun. The mapping throughout the Citizen was great, it usually felt like Half-Life 2. I remember 3 maps which blew my mind. The theater with its weird architecture and beautiful stage which was yelling Kasperg at me all the time. The map Bookworm with its nice arches, and lastly the map Stage Fright. Although some maps could have been improved with little tweaks, I could really see that Playbus and Kasperg worked hard on the maps and the result was generally pretty nice. Overall the Citizen was worth waiting for. It turned out to be a mod that features refreshingly different gameplay elements, almost professional voice acting, funny dialogues and moments which brought back some nice memories of the Half-Life series.
Fight the power! Fight the power! Fight the power! Fight the power!